What is going on, everybody? We are back once again with another edition of Wrestling Republic's daily broadcast. It is Thursday, March the 6th, fresh off of a Dynamite, right on the heels of AEW Revolution here in Los Angeles, or just north of me in Los Angeles. I will be in attendance. I'm stoked to be headed up there on Sunday. But before I do, we're going to break down last night's Dynamite and all kinds of good stuff from AEW this week. Hope everyone's having a great weekend. I've got two of the crew riding with me today. I'm stoked about it. I've got a Thursday original out in Philadelphia, Pennsylvania. First and foremost, head of opinions, Anthony Ricciardi. Happy Thursday, my friend. How are you?
I'm great. I always love doing this. And as we are reviewing essentially the Go Home Dynamite, because no one counts Collision, no one's watching it. So, but yeah, there's a lot of build for Revolution, and it's probably one of the most stacked cards they've had in a while. So I'm looking forward to covering Dynamite.
I appreciate that. I will say this about Collision. I've got this new routine where I do Sunday coffee with Collision, and I call it coffee and Collision. I do it myself. I go out of my way to not watch it Saturday night because I have stuff going on, but I do want to at least see what happened because there are things storyline wise related to Dynamite. And I swear by this routine. Sunday morning, if you have nothing to do, I do know that you're a mass attender, Anthony. Post mass, a little cup of coffee, a nice pair of sweatpants, and some Collision wouldn't hurt anybody. That's all I'm saying. Give it a chance. But up next, we've got the big man himself in the building. Reviewer, opinion writer extraordinaire, Archie Carter. What is going on, my friend?
I'm doing good, mate. And I think you stumbled across a home run idea for Wrestling Republic there. You should make coffee and Collision a regular thing for our viewers. But yeah, I'm excited to be joining the OG Throwback crew. It's Throwback Thursday was a show that I watched quite a bit when I first started watching the Wrestling Republic dailies. So I'm excited to join you guys and talk about AEW Dynamite and the Go Home show.
Absolutely. Happy Thursday, Arch. And I will say, I've struggled with this my entire life. Why is it that I accidentally have good ideas when I'm not trying to think of good ideas? It just happens. Why is it when I do brainstorming sessions, it just goes off the rails?
At least this one's on tape.
We'll figure that out. Yeah, at least this. Yeah, we can go back and confirm I said it aloud.
Yeah.
All right. Speaking of things that were on tape and happened, Rick O'Shea, everyone's favorite Irish wrestler. No, I'm just kidding. Ricochet finally gets his comeuppance on Swerve here. Not full, but he gets the pin. He gets the victory in this match. An interesting finish to last night's show, essentially. Anthony, talk to me about this. Big win for Ricochet, headed to Sunday. This could be fun.
Listen, here's the thing, and I don't like to start with a shovel, but I kind of feel like, to me, Ricochet in a lot of ways reminds me of the Solo Sikoa Tribal Chief thing. For me, it just didn't work. To me, to truly work as a heel character, the audience has to believe that you believe what you're saying, that the character believes what they're saying. And I got to be honest, the opening of the show with the promo, I don't believe Ricochet believes his own verbiage. Like it doesn't come off to me as believable that he truly believes that he's better than Swerve. Like, I don't get that. Ricochet's problem has never been in the ring. He can go in the ring. On the mic is where everything falls apart. This match should be very highly anticipated, but story-wise, I gotta be honest, it doesn't call me as much because I don't think Ricochet's as believable. Now, him getting the pinfall, I get it. It tries to build some anticipation of, hey, I can beat Swerve. WWE does that too, and I don't particularly care for the tag match before the big fight where they do the pinfall. I personally have never liked that when anybody does it. I get sort of, if you're doing it, if you're going against somebody that's a champion, like, hey, I could beat the champion. There's no title involved with this, so getting the win in a tag match, it doesn't do much for me. But I think match-wise, it's going to be a phenomenal match. but Ricochet just can't. He's not good at selling. To
I
me,
hear where you're
just my
coming from.
feeling.
Here's the one thing I would say though. I feel like week by week he's getting actually closer. If that makes sense. This wasn't the biggest leap he's made since he's adopted the character by any means, right? And nothing's straight up linear, right? I don't mean this in like it's a graph with a straight line. It's obviously going to be up and down and up and down. I don't think the promo was his greatest performance. I do think the victory did a lot for him.
I think part of the problem is with the change in the character. He really hasn't done much. Like there's no difference in music. There's no difference in in-ring style. Everything's still the same. The music hasn't changed.
The aesthetic it changed entirely, and the music is the same. But he came in as a heel, essentially, basically, like he was a babyface for 5 seconds, and it wasn't like. I mean, I get where you're coming from, and I get that you're not all the way sold for sure, 100%. I hear you. I hear where you're coming from. I'm at least closer to sold, I would say, for sure, and I don't mean separately. That was not a pun. I was not trying to cheap plug the show. But at the same time, I'm at least closer to sold on the possibility of this working, especially given I loved what he did with the Nana segment. Right? Last week, I thought that was the best promo back and forth yet that he's done. I think this one was a little bit muddier, as you mentioned. But I also think, improvement's non-linear, right? Sometimes you take a half step back and that leads to 2 steps forward, or right? Like it's a roller coaster always, right? It's up and it's down.
Yeah.
And I think headed to the victory, getting that pin helps, and leading to Sunday, it does put him in a better position. But to your point, it wasn't the strongest of the promos thus far. And again, because of history and because of a lot of other factors when it comes to Ricochet, he's not necessarily the most reliable when it comes to the microphone. So it's tough.
It's hard because he's been in the business for as long as he has. And it's like, if you haven't been able to master the promo up to this point, are you ever?
I will say it's a different scenario, and I do want to give Archie his time as well on this one. So
absolutely.
I'm going to rush through this really quick. It's a completely different scenario, but remember, we had Kane, who was silent over the years, right? And then you had the voice box and all of that. Eventually, we got to a point where he was one of the better promos in the business, to the extent the guy's a politician. Like his policies or not, the guy's a politician. He's that good on the microphone. I could see Ricochet with a late career sort of surge because he can figure out that skill. It is something where, and I don't want to dive super deep, but right, like, talking on a microphone can be nerve-wracking for people, Anthony, and you weren't sure yourself about broadcasting and doing shows like this. And it is a skill that can be developed. It is something that, right? And so I do think for Ricochet, it's possible. We haven't seen greatness yet, but we started to see some good. And I think the opportunity to sort of play with this heel thing, it is important for him to be able to develop that skill. It's going to be difficult if he continues to be the same babyface he's been for so long, for sure. But Archie, I want to get your thoughts on Ricochet and Takeshita picking up the victory in this tag match. And then also, obviously, the stuff that we've previously discussed with Ricochet and Swerve here coming up on Sunday.
Yeah, so here's the thing. Ricochet has exceeded my expectations in this heel run, albeit they weren't entirely high to begin with, but there has been parts in this heel run that has made me interested and intrigued. But then on the same thing as that, there's also been some very cheesy and cringy moments that, although they might be there that might be the desired effect, although that might be the desired effect, it doesn't come off that way. It's not cheesy and cringy in a good way. So yeah, and then this actual segment had a bit of both with that. So you had some interesting, intriguing stuff. I mean, I thought the stuff with the robe, where Ricochet wasn't wearing it and he's taken it to have adjustments to it was really interesting, and I'm excited to see what the robe looks like come Sunday. And then you had the cringe and cheesy stuff, and it's the things like the stupid laugh. I don't understand why he's got the stupid laugh to begin with. It doesn't add anything to his character. It doesn't mean anything to his motivations as a character. I don't understand why he's got it. It's just a bit stupid in my opinion.
I could not agree more, Archie. Sorry, continue.
Sorry. I was just going to say, I will say that although he's still not the best promo, he has improved in that aspect. But when he's in the ring with somebody that's a good promo, and he's having a promo battle with somebody like Swerve, who's not even the best promo in AEW, but he's still a decent promo. Ricochet was doing the talking for 80% of that segment, and Swerve was able to end that promo battle in one line about Samantha and how she was going to be one of the things that people remember most from Ricochet's career. So the thing is look, he's a good heel, but do I see him being a heel to that kind of main event level? Do I see him being able to be a heel that can carry an AEW World Championship? I honestly can't. If he doesn't improve in those promo battles where it matters with these guys, and if he can't hold his own against guys like Swerve, then I honestly can't see a future for him as a heel in the main event division. And I agree with Anthony as well that his music hasn't changed. He needs to make some sort of adjustments in the ring. It's the same stuff as before. And yeah, I just every time he seems to get interesting and intriguing as a heel for me, he starts to do that cheesy and cringy rubbish that I don't like in Jericho, and it reminds me a lot of like that.
Yeah, I think that's where the default to the Fernando Zayas here with he agrees about the laugh. We've also got from
stupid
Maria Zayas, we've got the character needs more time to breathe.
Yeah.
I think that's fair too. Fernando Zayas also added tremendous character turnaround by Ricochet.
But sorry, I was just gonna say sorry, I'm gonna read that comment.
Numero one Superfly added, I'm 100% expecting Swerve to win. However, I do agree that Ricochet's promo did not make him as believable as he or we wanted.
Mm-hmm.
I think so too.
Sorry, I was just gonna say, Clark, he has made strides, right? He's done a lot better than I thought he would do as a heel. I thought this would be something that wouldn't work, but this is definitely something that he can run a mile with in AEW, and he can be good in the mid-card division as a TNT champion or something like that. I just don't see it as a main event act.
So I want to ask you guys about something. This is really interesting when it comes to Ricochet, and I had this thought earlier. If you look at his best work, microphone-wise, I would argue it was opposite Prince Nana. When Nana got serious, he's wearing the robe, right? It's very personal, all of that.
Yeah.
Nana being non-threatening and Ricochet being the trained wrestler helped contribute to that. We all know how sadistic Swerve is. He got him with scissors.
Yeah.
An eye for an eye, essentially, right?
Yeah.
The cliche, not the literal thing, like the storyline that we had with Rey Mysterio did it. But anyway, like Swerve he's put a needle in Hangman's mouth. Like the guy is sadistic as could be. He's very over, like I would call him a tweener type face.
Yeah.
Closer to a Stone Cold Steve Austin than a John Cena a week ago. Right.
A more Austin type.
Rough around the edges, that type of stuff. Opposite Swerve, I think it's more difficult for Ricochet to be the badder guy because we know Swerve's history.
But then
that's where it's tough matchup wise, because I'm excited about the in-ring product of this matchup, but from a storyline perspective, it's tough for me to believe that Swerve is fighting from underneath or willing to do anything less than the bad guy.
That's part of the problem. When I'm talking about the presentation with him, the music, the style, to me, I think he should have been edgier, because if you're just the flippy guy with the music and you're just occasionally pulling out the scissors, it doesn't sell it as much that you're trying to match Swerve as sadistic. You're trying to match. Grant, I get it. It's the equivalent of Tiffy trying to out heel Charlotte. You're not going to do it, but with Ricochet, I think he could have made the attempt, because the scissors kind of opened the door to you going that route. So I think he needed to go full with that, and not. I don't think they went full force 100%. With it. That's my argument with that. That's where I thought that could have made a difference.
Yes,
because that could have made up for the lack of the promo, because his actions are speaking for him. So I think that could have helped.
Absolutely. Yeah. I think that's totally fair. But let's move on. And speaking of sadistic,
yes,
let's talk about some wild stuff. We have Maxwell Jacob Fireman, and he's going to try to set on fire Hangman Page last night. Anthony, I'm just going to go straight to you, man. I thought the house is being burnt down and syringes and all that stuff would be the wildest. People are getting set on fire again. It's like we mentioned Kane earlier in the show.
It's like 1998 all over again.
It's burning again.
Yes. Kane going, if he didn't win the title off of Austin in the first blood match, he would set himself on fire. So yes. This also brings me back to, and this is a little side one, and Clark will enjoy this. You can't help but think of Kane hooking up the car battery to Shane O'Mac's chestnuts back in the day. But yeah, MJF, his best work is when he's in the ring and on the mic with somebody that can go toe to toe with him. In my personal opinion, his greatest feud of his career was with CM Punk, because they could go at each other. Hangman's the next closest one you can kind of do that with. And this is the type of feud that MJF needed. He needed this type of feud to try to rehabilitate, in my opinion, because when he returned and the whole Adam Cole thing, that was not good stuff. He needs that good feud, and Hangman has been lingering too since Swerve. Like, he needs a direction, and the two found one another, and you can kind of, this has the potential to be a feud of the year, especially if they drag this out. I can't imagine Revolution it's going to be a one and done. If it is, you're leaving money on the table. This is something you could drag out for months. Multiple pay-per-view matches. Like, you could get a lot out of this. It's going darker and darker. Will the fire come into play? Because it didn't really come into play with Swerve as much. Like, they didn't try to set anybody on fire. But would you go that route? Would you go dark enough and do AEW's version of an Inferno match? We have not seen one of those in a very long time. Would we see something like that? MJF and Hangman are definitely two that could totally do that with. They're dark enough. They're sadistic enough. It could work. Especially since they didn't do it with Hangman and Swerve, where it was kind of a given. You burn down his house, you figure something with fire would have came into play. But you know what I mean? So I think that's totally a possibility with these two.
I could not agree more, but we've got a lot of great comments about this as well, Anthony, and I agree with what you're saying.
Let's set the place on fire.
But this one got me so good. Hangman got to burn off MJF's hair transplant from our very own Shad Huda.
I mean, listen, we don't know if that's flammable.
Stuff's got to be flammable.
You got it from Turkey, so who knows? It might be flame retardant. We don't know.
Oh my goodness. Oh my God. Vintage MJF last night from Fernando Zayas. Shad also added MJF was in his bag last night. Yeah. Numero one is looking forward to MJF Adam Page. I think we all are.
To me, and I know we're going to get to this at the last topic. This could main event the show. It should. To me, it's the best. It's the best built feud going into the show, in my opinion.
Absolutely. Go ahead, Archie.
I was just gonna say, I've got one thing that I've got to complain about, and like it happens every single time AEW does great storytelling, They always do one thing that kind of runs in my mind that annoys me a bit. And it's when they came back from the break, they cut to commentary and it came back to Excalibur. And he said, we do not condone the actions of MJF. And we are not going to show this we're not going to show this on the broadcast again. And just know that MJF's got hell to pay at Revolution. And one, we've seen a lot worse than that on AEW TV. And two, the first thing I did when I heard that was, I'm going to go on social media. And what did I expect to see? I didn't expect to see. I didn't expect to see.
That was your first mistake.
Hang on, I didn't expect them to see that post that segment, right? If you wanna go all in with that kind of thing, you don't post that segment on social media
from your own site. Yeah, I get what you're saying.
Yeah, and exactly, and that's exactly what they did to their over 1 million followers on Instagram or on any social media platform, and it just didn't make any. That's just something that annoyed me. In that you're not going to show this on your own broadcast, but you're going to put it on social media for more people that didn't watch the show to see it. But no, it's a fantastic segment. It's just one thing that annoyed me that I wanted to mention.
I hear ya, and don't you worry, Arch. After this commercial break, I will call you a ambulance. Let's talk about Demand Progress Plus, though. Let's use the code WatchProgress1. You'll get 50% off your first month on Demand Progress Plus, the home of Progress Defy and many more. This is one of the best tape libraries on the internet. You're a wrestling fan if you're here. If you haven't already checked it out, if you haven't already used the discount, what in the world are you waiting for? Head over there one more time. That code is WatchProgress1. That is half off your first month. You'll enjoy that. And also, no matter which type of phone you have, head over to the App Store, download the Itsy app. It could be App Store or Google Play, and then head to the upcoming stream section. Sunday, we will see you. Me takes everybody. It's a blast. You can join us. Big Ant, Ben's there occasionally. You never know who you're going to see. We the ones, all of us. And if you want to argue with us, as long as you got a cell phone with a microphone and a camera, boom, you can join and for 2 minutes hash it out with me over Cody Rhodes or John Cena or whatever in the world you'd like to talk about. But that's the Itsy app over on the App Store and the Google Play Store. Check that out. Let's keep today's show rolling, though. Let's talk about the Death Riders. Are the Death Riders ending? Tough
We're
headline.
not lucky enough.
Tough headline for a segment. Obviously, it looks like Mox is going to be on an island, as he mentioned last night. Finger quotes.
Not of relevancy.
By himself. Yeah, the island of irrelevancy. I actually just went and bought a Hanes 4-pack of white t-shirts and just wrote on the bottom Death Riders. So I got
isn't that bootleg merch?
Instead of spending $29.99 on the Death Riders t-shirt to have the letters at the bottom, I spent $29.99 to have 6 of them. No, I'm kidding. Sorry, but that shirt is ridiculous. Either way. Are they ending? I don't know. I would have said I hope so. I kind of hope so. But I want the ending to at least explain why. I don't want them to
I don't think we're ever going to get that.
Because if they just end, then it's retribution. Like, please just give us one big, like, this is why we did this and now it's over.
It's damage control. We never found out why they joined.
Yeah, they never controlled any damage. Darn it. I can't figure it out. Archie, can you explain this to me? Explain this.
Explain.
Thank you for giving me that distinct honor of trying to explain the Death Rider storyline. The match with Copeland and Yuta, to start off with, that I didn't have high expectations for this, but it was quite good. I enjoyed it. For everything I say about Yuta outside of the ring, how interesting he is outside of the ring, inside of the ring he is a good worker. The post-match stuff was good. One thing I would have changed was I would have had somebody hold the camera and actually go closer into both of them and have the microphone on the camera catch Copeland saying this is what respect feels like, instead of him holding a microphone while saying that. It sounds a bit more authentic that way. Is this the end of the Death Riders? Unfortunately, I think they've made it very obvious with this whole Copeland taking out all of the Death Riders so Moxie's on his own story. I think they've made it very obvious that it's very much not the end. I think they're going to add a new member to their group come Sunday, and I think I know exactly who it's going to be, which a lot of people won't like. But the thing is I think Yuta's gone from the group. So he's going to have his own thing. I think what we're going to see is we're going to have Copeland and Moxley in the dying moments of the match. The referee gets knocked down. Copeland gets hit by a psycho knee. We all think it's going to be Wheeler Yuta, and who takes his hoodie off? But none other than Jack Perry. I think that's what it's leading to. I think Jack Perry's going to be the next.
I
Remember, I'm not
love
even
this.
joking. I genuinely think that's where this is going to go, and I don't think Moxley's losing his title.
Guys,
I'm
I
sorry.
got in trouble here. Hang on 1 second.
All right.
Clark's not showing the Twitch comments again. Howdy.
Fuck.
Watch
Damn it.
this. Watch this. DCX Warlord over on Twitch. Imagine MJF and Ricochet versus Hangman Page and Swerve Strickland. We've also got
Disproven.
DCX Warlord over on Twitch with Shad That's Wild. We've got DCX Warlord with Didn't Jack Perry Get Lit on Fire. We've also got
Yeah,
DCX
and they showed
Warlord
it multiple times.
over on Twitch with Who's Tanned More, MJF or Ric Flair. And while I'm up, I believe we have one more up top from DCX Warlord that I wanted to show, which is, of course, since AEW let Billy Gunn be DLC for 2K25, could we see William Regal return at AEW
No.
Revolution? No.
Here's the thing with that. The reason
Wait.
Billy Gunn's in the game is because he's under a Legends deal with WWE, and he has been for years. That's why
I
he's in
didn't
the
even
game.
realize that.
And then one more time over on Twitch, we have DCX Warlord with Swerve is facing Mox or Cope because if the heel is on top of the babyface throughout the feud and the face wins at the big event. And that, my friend Howdy, is 7-1. Okay.
Can I say one quick thing?
Yes.
I agree with Arch. I do think a new member is going to join, but I think it's Josh Alexander.
No.
Fellow
I think Josh Alexander is the most dead certain bet to join the Don Callis family. I think.
We've got a few more. Christian Cage is a guest from our friend Howdy here. Cope believes he's going to get screwed by Jay White. Or I mean, Numero and Superfly believes Cope is going to get screwed by Jay White. Maria Sai says that it's not over. Moxley has an ace up his sleeve. That's very possible. Soul Sessions with Cope will win. Cage will try to cash in. Kill Switch will cost him, only for Jay White to steal the contract, cash in, and become AEW champion. It's a big deal.
Well, you know what? That's awfully convoluted, and that's totally something they would do. But go ahead.
And then we've got Jack Perry as the Death Rider. I absolutely love it. The heel mark. I appreciate that too.
Yeah.
I mean, it could be a lot of things here. I don't know for sure. But one thing I do know for sure is I definitely did show those Twitch comments. And also, I don't think the Death Riders are quite over. Personally, that's just my opinion. If they are, it would just be such a shame. And that's where you lend yourself to like a retribution type situation where it's looked upon so negatively. You got to be able to salvage it in some way.
The question though is, has it gone on too long that you can't salvage it, or if you do, the audience just goes, "I don't care." Like that's the problem. It's been going on for like 6 months.
Even if it's a weak move, I think it's possible to at least give it like a cherry.
I agree. I think you need to at least use it to crown someone new. And I've said it for ages. I think Will Ospreay at Forbidden Door in London beating Moxley. I think that's the move. It's a year on from his last or his first ever AEW title defense. I think that's the move personally.
I still think they're going to go to the Darby route, unless they decide to kill this thing now.
Probably.
I mean, it's one of those things. It's kind of like, right? People still put sprinkles on frozen yogurt. It's not ice cream, but it's pretty good. That's going to be the best we can get, right? Like that.
Yeah.
That's what AEW can get out of this.
Never had frozen yogurt, so
bro, come on, man. In a pinch, if you're on a diet, low calorie. Okay.
You never know where this goes.
Get into the main event of the evening here, my friends. We've also got DCX Warlord over on Twitch with Dijak joins the Death Riders.
That would be retribution.
Gotta love that. Speaking of retribution,
T-Bar.
It's amazing segue we're doing here.
Okay, no, but seriously, let's talk about
throw you to Mariah May. Continue.
Good Mariah May and Toni Storm main event AEW Revolution in Los Angeles. I'm gonna go first on this one, guys, because my answer is absolutely yes. Absolutely yes. You know why? They're gonna wrestle as close to Hollywood as AEW is gonna book a show. And this is as close to Hollywood as AEW's got. The storyline has had the best time. It's been the best told story in AEW over the last at least calendar year from today's date backwards. There's been nothing more entertaining than May and Storm. The matches have delivered. Give them all the time in the world and let them rock the house. At used to be Staples Center. I'm still not used to Crypto Arena, but Crypto Arena, I'll be in attendance. I'm excited about it. There'll be a ton of people there. This is the match to have, though. Absolutely. This is the one to book at the top of the card. I could see, Max, and I know you mentioned that earlier, Anthony, so I don't want to step on your toes there. I could see other matches here. But I think these two have earned it, truthfully. And it just makes the most sense to me. Archie, I'm going to give it to you. If not this one, what would it be? Or are you on the same page? Do you think Storm and May deserves it? And what were your thoughts on the interaction last night and over the last few weeks?
I'm on the exact same page as you, Clark. I think it's the only reasonable match that can main event. MJF and Hangman, it's been one of my favorite parts of AEW TV each week. But this is a storyline that is coming to its conclusion. As the match says, it's a Hollywood ending. It's one of the best women's wrestling storylines I think we've seen, honestly, and that's not to piggyback off what Ben said in his Allison analysis, but it's I think it's genuinely from a storytelling perspective. There's a lot of layers to this, and I don't think we see many storylines like that in the women's division in any promotion very often anymore. So it should definitely main event. Unfortunately, I don't think it will. I think it will be the Death Riders main eventing. But as I said, I'm more than happy to be proven wrong, and I think it should main event. The interaction last night was the perfect way to have both of them have their final say before this match, before anything happened. I mean, there was so much to unpack here. I mean, the fact Mariah May literally spat on Toni Storm and she didn't even wipe it off. She just literally sat there the whole segment, just sitting there unbothered. And the descent into madness that Mariah May's gone on since Australia has just been fantastic character work. I think this whole storyline has really shown us that AEW didn't book Mariah May to her fullest potential, didn't book her to her fullest potential as champion. This storyline has shown everyone how good Mariah May is, and something that I've thought for a while is just, Mariah May is one of the best, does some of the best character work that we see in women's wrestling alongside Toni Storm. It's just a very, I use the word cinema quite a lot, and I know our very own David Sheldon does not like that word, but this storyline has been cinema because that's the only way you can describe it.
Yep.
To me, it's the only one that can main event. And I hope we do see it main event. I hope those talented women get their opportunity to main event.
I agree. There is a lot. There's a lot here with this story. It's so good, and the Hollywood aspect is so brilliant. It's also Falls Count Anywhere, no holds barred, no rope breaks, anything in the world goes. There's a lot here. We've got a ton of comments too. We've got Numero and Superfly with I can see Mariah May versus Toni Storm main eventing. In my opinion, they should have made the stipulation something like the grand finale or Blockbuster Street Fight or something like that. Okay, that's fair. And then Fernando Zayas with May versus Storm should definitely main event. It's the best story of the year. Shad Huda with, yep, it should main event, especially the type of match it is. It could, but it won't, as we have seen in the industry that, whatever. So, okay. And then Maria Zayas with, this is a no-brainer. Yes. And then Shad with, and this is something I really wanted to address. Mariah May is one of the best heels in AEW. She's got the perfect personality as a heel. True superstar. Okay. Toni Storm with the character change and everything she accomplished within that, in a lot of ways, gets a lot of the hype, gets a lot of the stuff like that. And then this is funny. DCX Warlord even said Tony's the real heel in this feud. I could see that too. Mariah May has been so good opposite her. I mean, it takes two to tango, right? Yeah. You know, Rocky's no good without Apollo Creed or Drago or any, right? Tyson's no good without Holyfield. Ali's no good without Frazier, right? Like it doesn't, if there's not somebody on the other side that's a legitimate threat, it doesn't work. And Mariah May has done as good a job as anybody, and she's the younger one. I feel like because Toni's more of a veteran, she sometimes gets more credit. It should be equal in this scenario. They have built this story from the start. And before I toss this to you, Anthony, because I assure you, I know you're chomping at the bit to talk about this one, but one more thing I wanted to add. Obviously, WrestleMania 12, I've mentioned it 1,000 times on this program, was my very first show, the Hollywood Backlot Brawl. We used the OJ footage, Gold Dust, Roddy Piper, the whole nine. That one was a lot of shenanigans. I have no issue if this thing starts on Hollywood Boulevard and ends up in the arena for the main event somehow. I have no problem with that.
Honestly, that is what I was going to suggest. I get Falls Count Anywhere, but
Sunset,
even if they could not use Hollywood Backlot Brawl as a name, because I don't know if WWE owns it, but I don't know if they want. They could have done, something Sunset Boulevard related brawl or something to that effect, because that's where this feud needs to go. It's in LA. It makes the most sense. This is where it should end. Mariah May has shown tremendous talent, to try to match up with Toni. And like you said, Clark, and I know you used the Rocky analogy, you need a yin to a yang to really make it work. Rocky had Apollo for the first two movies, but there's a reason why that's fondly remembered and Rocky and Tommy Gunn is not. Because he wasn't an equal to match up against. Mariah May is somebody that can go up against Toni, and it's believable and it's good. That's the same reason why I said MJF and Hangman works, because they can go yin for yang, and it's why I said Swerve and Ricochet not as much, because both sides are not holding equal footing there. But I think the Mariah May Toni Storm, if this is the blow off, in all seriousness, this should main event over the world title match, because quite frankly, I don't think the Death Riders run as a whole, it hurt it. Hangman and MJF will main event at some point if this is continuing on, which it should. So if you have one major story, probably one of the better stories that AEW has ever told, ending, and you have a new one beginning, that's the direction you want to be in. My only concern long term with this is, where does Toni Storm and Mariah go after this? Because the booking of Mariah was not good when she took the title off of Toni, and I feel like you can't just have her on TV again the next week starting a feud with somebody else. Like, I feel like you need to take Mariah off TV for just a little bit, licking her wounds. I don't think you just have her on Dynamite the very next week fighting Thunder Rosa. Like, you know what I mean?
Agree.
Like, you know what I mean? Like, Toni could start a new feud with somebody, but Mariah needs to be off, because if you're just doing it to ships passing, I always think it's a good idea when you do a blow off, whoever
take a little bit of time off. I think that's very fair.
Need to be off
and you're not saying like go away or like
no. I'm not saying that.
I completely understand where you're coming from there, Anthony. Like I think you make a great point too.
Yeah.
Just to let everything rest, because the other thing is you have the potential of something like a Mercedes Moné rivalry with Mariah May down the road. You bring her back, it's more impactful. Absence makes the heart grow fonder. All of that.
A perfect example. After the hot feud that Punk and McIntyre had, the Hell in a Cell, they both remained off TV because of the sheer brutality of it. They kept them off TV.
Yes,
that helped it breathe a little, and it added more emphasis to the fact that how brutal the match was. It sold
1,000%. 1,000%.
I think. I was just gonna say, I think with Mariah May, they could learn a lot from what they didn't do with the Timeless Toni Storm's absence, and actually make a vignette series of finding. I said before, they should do like a Finding Toni Storm, where RJ City goes around trying to find Toni Storm. You can do a Finding Mariah May kind of vignette series where RJ City has a like a mockumentary kind of thing, where he goes around and tries to find Mariah May, and they could do a lot with with Mariah May in her absence, but I agree she needs to be off TV for a while after.
There's a ton there, and I will say this too. Not often we get 3 for 3 in agreement that this should main event too. I think that's really cool.
Yeah.
I'm also just gonna pad stats here to win this I don't read Twitch comments thing. DCX Warlord over on Twitch said The Rock and Austin, and I think this gives me over double digits here. DCX Warlord also added Mariah May versus Mercedes Moné, and Mariah dethroning Athena. All those from Twitch, of course. Thank you, DCX Warlord, in the comments. I don't mind any of those as far as rivalries are concerned. I think they make sense. I would love to see Mariah May and Athena. I don't know how you do that in relation to the rest of the AEW roster.
It could be all in. I mean, it could. There's how many non-title women's feuds did they have? You know, you can easily do Mariah and Athena all in. That gets Mariah on AEW's biggest show of the year. It makes sense in terms of Athena, and that can be her first rivalry on AEW TV. You don't have to put her straight in the deep end after losing the Ring of Honor championship. I think
no doubt about it.
Idea.
I think Athena against Thunder Rosa in Texas, as they're both from Texas, would be a great move too.
Yeah, definitely.
Yes. Oh, I love this DCX Warlord over on Twitch. Instead of "Where's Waldo," it's "Where's Mariah."
Well, where in the world is Carmen Sandiego would work too.
Where in the world is Carmen Sandiego? That's perfect. I will say this though, guys. I think that's going to go ahead and bring us to the end of the show. It's been an absolute blast. Check us out every single day, same time, same place. That's of course noon Pacific, 3 o'clock in the East, 8 o'clock over in the UK, 9 a.m. for my friends in Hawaii. On behalf of me, Clark, Anthony Ricciardi, Big Arch, the man, the myth, the legend, and everybody here at WR. Have an excellent Thursday. We will talk to you very soon. And I'll see you at Revolution. If you're there, say what's up. Maybe buy me a beer.